5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban.
Back, we are here for a brand new day of the BTS Pro Series number 2. It is MLP Dota, John Expired. John, welcome back, sir.
Team ban.
Everyone missed you quite a bit. A glorious day to be back, in fact. The Queen
And it is
here, sir. None of this Wind Ranger AM crap. Right? They brought the best out first. How are you feeling, sir?
Well, I'm feeling great, Mike. The internet seems to be holding up, so I'm happy. I'm also glad to say, and I want to greet everyone out there, happy Independence Day to everyone else from the Philippines. It's quite the day for BTS Pro Series for the Philippines. You know why, Mike? We've got 3 out of 4 series with Filipino teams. So it's a great way to celebrate that Independence Day, and along with Aquapa Arcana, it should be a delightful day indeed. We do start with Cignal up against Neon. This matchup, it's a bit hard to tell because Neon, they've taken some matchups that on paper you wouldn't expect them to. And historically, Cignal up against Neon, it's more Neon favored, but very recently, Cignal has been winning out instead. So the last 2 series they've played, Cignal has won, but Neon has won a lot more beforehand. So we'll see how that holds up. You'll be glad to notice, Mike, both teams listen to me from the lobby. None of them are banning that co-op, so we'll likely see it at some point.
How dare they if they did? You can't just ban the new Arcana. That can't happen. It's just a matter of who's going to pick it up first. Neon Esports, they have the opportunity. Now, we haven't necessarily seen a first pick co-op yet, but there it is. There it is. We saw what Boom Esports did with Girls of Arcana, John. I'm looking forward to seeing what the co-op does. She has a screen of pain meter, apparently. I just found that out. She has a meter for screen of pain damage. I'm guessing it's kind of like the Earthshaker Arcana, where it tells you how many combos you got at the end.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know what to expect. I've left it for a surprise for all of us, I guess. And that is why we took so long to start the game, by the way. I realized we're about 10-15 minutes late. That's because everyone didn't realize the Co-op Arcana was out, and they didn't realize there was a patch. It literally came out, maybe 10 minutes before the game was scheduled to start, and no one really realized it was there. And long and behold, we had to remake the lobby, and everyone had to download the new patch and whatever else. But we're here now, and I'm going to say, John, both these teams are taking quite a long time to make these first pickups. Cignal Ultra clearly upset that they didn't get to choose the Queen of Pain, so they will go for the punt now into the Ember Spirit. So 2 nice counters towards that Queen of Pain.
Yeah.
Straight off the bat.
Not quite the most common opening, but we have seen emphasis on the Ember. Surprised that it slipped through here from both sides. No bans for that, so you do take that flex pick. The puck is pretty flexible as well. We've seen it in the off lane, we've seen it down mid, so laning for Cignal is fairly open. They've got pretty good tempo coming out. You mentioned it, but great control for the Quap. The puck with the silence, the Dream Coil, the chains are pretty good. So I like that response, but Neon, they have the opportunity to take it as well. They take the Beastmaster, which wasn't banned. So you've seen these big priority heroes just slipping right through, and Neon with the Beast can push a bit better. They have better vision coming out, and it gives them solid control for at least one of these heroes. Either the Puck or the Ember wouldn't enjoy that war being tossed out at them.
No, they will not. And either way, the Beastmaster is just a very, very good offlane right now, so kind of wondering when the next patch comes out to nerf this guy. I mean, he's basically been picked up or banned every single game. It's a very, very dominant hero right now, this Beastmaster. We'll see Neon Esports, they do ban out the troll for themselves, and Cignal Ultra have one ban left. We should also mention, John, starts to the matchup. Cignal Ultra, bottom, all the way at the bottom of the groups. I mean, they're last place right now. They have not won a series yet. The best they've done thus far is they got a draw. That was the absolute best they got. Neon Esports, however, surprised us yesterday, I can tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Geek fan, but that was expected. I mean, it was Geek fan after all. But they're looking good. I think Cignal Ultra have a lot to be worried about with this series, I'll tell you that. They will go for the Enchantress now up against that Beastmaster. Very standard stuff for this current meta.
Yeah, it's no real surprises just yet. I think Neon has the opportunity in their sports, and they do take it. They take the Rubik here, which, you know, you don't have the biggest spells, but you've got the Puck, who's always nice to steal from, and the Ember Spirit. So there's some decent damage and control coming out with the Rubik here. You could the Ench spells aren't as great, but I guess that option's available too. Not the most value Rubik game. You know, you're not seeing anything like the Shaker come out. You're not seeing the Enigma come out here, but it just kind of sets you up for just a decent set of control, and again, the opportunity to turn those spells from Cignal around. I don't think the Dream Coil is going to be too hard for the Rubik as long as his spacing is right. So that's a spell that you should look for Neon to try to steal every time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So definitely a nice Rubik game for the side of Neon Esports. Cignal Ultra now yet to make their fourth pickup, and we will go into that pause for task. So they lead their supports both for that second and third and fourth phase. The task is not a bad hero at all. It does seem pretty nice in this game. It seems nice in any game, in all fairness. Neon Esports, their fourth pickup now. They are looking for, I believe, at least one more support and one more core, unless that's going to be a pause for Queen of Pain, which we have seen a lot of in all fairness.
You know, in this case, I'd actually want maybe a Grimstroke to help you with your control issue. Just a double roar in this game is going to be really important because you've got the Puck and Ember if they wanted that. They go with the Void instead. We've seen this a couple of times, and it is pretty all right in this case. You've got the Quap who can help you outside. You don't have the most straightforward combos this time around. You don't have the Phoenix coming out. You don't have anything like the Shaker coming out to help you get some control there as well. So it's going to be a bit trickier to catch us out. You will have to try to catch the Puck Ember. I think that's the biggest thing the Void has to achieve in those chronos. You can't allow these slippery targets to just have free reign outside, and that is what you look for besides maximizing the early chronos. So Neon, they give themselves a bit of tempo with that Void pick. You start to want to see maybe something else outside that can help out. Maybe a mid choice. It is looking like we're seeing a play hard Queen of Pain. And at his battle pass level, of course, I believe he does have the Arcana. So I'm fine with that.
He better.
Yeah.
It'd be a real shame if they first pick Queen of Pain and they don't even have the Arcana. That would kind of suck.
10 seconds
Equipped as well. I believe you do have to still equip it. You can't just, it doesn't automatically just load up on your hero. So we'll see. Neon Esports, their final ban out now. We're still waiting. they are looking to ban out some sort of safe lane core here for Cignal Ultra. Something good up against that void. In all fairness, there's not many safe lane heroes that do kind of counter the void. He is overall pretty great once he has Chrono up.
Yeah, I think there's an option to maybe slide a Pugna in here. It does give you a very early tempo for Cignal, not too much scaling, but that's something that the Void will have to constantly worry about, just the decrep and Chrono. So if they wanted to do that, I think there is space in the draft. You would be looking at the Puck, Ember, and a Pugna Tricore, which tricky to pull off, but you do see Neon with their final ban. They do actually ban the AM, so don't want to deal with that. And again, that would have been another slippery hero that their lineup is very limited in controlling multiple of those jumpy heroes.
Yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
You definitely know what that AM.
5 seconds remaining.
Final pickup now. It's either a pos 4 or a mid. You did mention that pos 4 Queen of Pain is probably coming out here for Neon. What other mid would you really want, though? That's the thing. Like the Quap Void combo works quite nicely, especially if that Quap is farmed, but
it's a bit tricky. I think the matchups you face with Puck and Ember, either one is going to be pretty solid in lane. Maybe something like Alina can come out here. I think that works with the Void pretty nicely as well, if you wanted to play around that. Again, the matchup mid doesn't really go either way in that case. Like the Lina versus Puck isn't too bad for either. Lina versus Ember isn't too bad for either. There are ways for both sides to play it. It's really down to what Neon wants to prioritize. We might even see maybe Beastmaster mid, the last pick off lane. That's something we've seen a lot. And yeah, they picked the snap. Look like it's a Queen of Pain core, I believe, and Playhard's going to be on the Snapfire. So they're building up in the team fight. They needed a combo with a Chrono. You've got the Mortimer's Kisses now. That's a lot of damage, even without items on your Void. You just need level 6 coming out on that pause 4, which is fine. My only worry now is whether or not Yopaj has that Quap Arcana. I'm not sure about his levels. I know Playhard's at 1.4, and Cignal closes out with Naga. That's one way to handle the Void. If you don't catch that Naga in, the song comes out.
Yeah, it works well up against that Beastmaster as well, right? Because you do force out the axes. Because of the high armor of that Quap, and mirror images as well are quite frustrating for the ball. There it is.
Oh, thank goodness.
There's
yeah. All right. Yeah, he has levels. Great. And we'll see how much that does. I mean, we saw it, as you mentioned, with Dreamocell, with his Raid King Arcana reveal. He just dominated. Queen of Pain, I mean, with her Arcana fitting in, she should really actually legitimately dominate to fit in with her role playing, you know? Yeah.
No need to go that far. Just on that by looking at the Arcana. Cignal Ultra versus Neon Esport. It's going to be an interesting match, of course. First series. All kind of established here is Cignal Ultra needs some wins if they wish to make it out of that elimination side of the group stage. Because right now, last place does mean if you did stay that way, you would be kicked out of the tournament altogether by the time the group stages are over. Don't want to be in that place if you are Cignal Ultra. They're trying to make it to the upper bracket right now, because I believe they're still the lower bracket side of the group stage, just barely right now at 6th place. But if they did get a win here, 2-0, they would actually take 4th place. In fact, they might take 3rd.
Really important for both sides to start climbing. And, you know, we're at the last half of groups, so really start to have to bring out the best here. And surprisingly enough, Mike, no minute 0 pause. I'm shocked.
Very disappointing.
Oh, look at that Arcana.
Trying to, John. I'm trying. It's beautiful. Really is beautiful. So she has some Sonic Wave Pain meter now, which is what I'm interested in seeing as well, right? Like, what does it look like? I haven't tested this stuff yet. I really did want to just kind of leave it till we got into a game. You know, it was almost guaranteed someone was going to pick it. I was highly doubting it would not be first picked, so I just kind of left it till now. We are going to have a bounty going out already as well. Poor old Eris is going to have to take that bounty. See how he deals with
30
it.
seconds to battle.
Yeah, it's been something consistent. You know, those minute zero bounties tend to get picked up for first blood. So we'll see if that's the pattern Neon wants to keep. Of course, a Tusk can be a bit tricky to catch out, but level 1 to 2, that's when it's most vulnerable. So we'll see to Neon if they can secure that kill.
Yeah. They might fight over this top
Battle begins.
Eris is going to activate the tag teams. It's going to take a lot of harassment here. And, well, who got the bounty? Genuel did. Eris now got called if he's not too careful. He does. That was the bounty. But it was the one who placed it. So he doesn't get it. I'm kind of surprised he stuck around that long. Scared to go to the level 1 time walk, so he could always time walk off most of the damage they dealt. It's going to be a great start for the side of Neon Esports.
Yeah, just getting first blood on your safe laner, that's something to really start to kick you into gear. And even going into the lane, like Time Walk is a long cooldown, but that was long enough that, you know, by the time the heroes are back in, he's got Time Walk level 1 up and running again. So even if he did try to go for the harassment, he's going to be able to get out. So it's a good start for Neon. It should set them up nicely. I think for Cignal Ultra, you're going to be seeing them kick into gear, maybe by level 2, probably level 3 is the point where you really want to get with Van for the additional damage you can pump out and control. The Tusk, I think we have to look to Eris to perhaps consider mid lane rotations. It's going to be important to give James a really good start. In this case, Queen of Pain does have ways of making it a bit harder for the Ember Spirit. Not too hard. The Ember has options in that matchup, but we tend to see a lot of the Ember Spirit drafts really center around that early timing. So Eris really has to be on point with when he chooses to go down mid.
See. So we are going to have the go-ahead now. Skim should be having a pretty decent lane here, I believe. Like, you're up against Eris, which can be annoying, but Van should be okay on the park. I think Skim should be just fine here. The Daniel is just going to be there to keep him safe. Of course, the mid lane, we do have your Paj versing Jamesy in the Quad vs Ember matchup. The bot lane, Raging Potato, is back. He's going to be there on that bot Beastmaster, up against a bat on that Nagasara. And Playhan and Grim is going to be going at it on the Rubik and the Enchantress. And of course, Raging Potato, he does go for the Axis build. He's not going to waste his time with the boards this game. Not for now, anyway. It kind of always sucks to have to go down the Axis route, but you do have to do it if you are up against that Nagasara.
Yeah, it's like, even if you did go for the boards, you have to worry about the Ench and, ooh, John Uel.
That top lane ends up going down. He was trying to sit up there with a cookie, it seems, on Skim, but Skim kind of ran the wrong way. Ultimately, it does not pan out the way they would have liked it. It'll be a 1-to-1 now.
Yeah, it's a decent bounce back for Cignal. I think you have to look to them to maintain that aggression. Again, it'll take a while for Eris to find that EXP, but at the same time, John Uwal does have a slight EXP advantage. So at level 2, should be able to play tag with that Tusk a bit better, and you've got to be careful with your spacing in that case.
That mid lane not going very well for Jamesy as well. It's he's currently sitting at 7-0 in comparison to the 11-6 of your Paj. Paj having a great old time thus far. Try to dodge out the Shadow Strike there with the Slider Fist. Doesn't really miss though. Does end up connecting. So, not an easy lane for Jamesy at all. Like, it just every time he comes close, your Paj is harassing him back out.
Yeah, it's a range advantage for Yapaj, and Jamesy, his cooldowns are a lot longer. Flame Guard can't quite block all damage. You'd really want that just to clear the waves, and with that opportunity, Yapaj building ahead with the denies, Jamesy's going to have a severe EXP deficit in this lane.
I didn't realize, was that a custom question mark for denies?
That it is.
Very nice.
Oh, there it is.
Bot lane, Crims may end up dropping here on the Enchantress. No, should be fine. Walk away. The Parish falling very, very low. Jamie trying to get the kill and he does.
Dyer's middle
They do
is under
trade, but
attack.
ultimately Jamesy does get the kill first. So you would call that the positive for him. He definitely needed that. He was struggling quite a bit in farm, but he'll have a bit of an XP advantage now.
Yeah, I think that makes up for all the denies that you've been able to get on Yapaj. So the Ember Spirit does pull slightly ahead in the XP, and that makes it easier to manage. If you hit that level 6 point a bit faster, gives you some leeway to play around with the pop and really start dodging the spells more consistently as well.
It will. It's like Eris and Genuel start rotating down to the mid lane to try and secure that first power rune of the game. Jamesy and Yapaj still going at it. Only Yapaj has a bottle right now. Eris not going to be able to get that top bounty. It's not there. Meanwhile, bot lane, Raging Potato does end up getting Grims on that Enchantress. And nice shard there from Eris trying to block that haste. Yapaj still does get the haste rune. Such desperation to try and make sure he can't get that free regen with that bottle, but doesn't work out for Eris.
Yeah, it's not going to be great with Yapaj having that option. I think you can really play the aggression here, although Jamesy now at 5 does have more durability with the Flame Guard. Still don't want to risk too much. Yapaj does click nicely.
Top lane. Eris and Van trying to make a play here for the snap by. Meanwhile, Raging Potato does drop bot. Scared going to try and fight back now up against Van. Yapaj does end up killing off Jamesy, apparently. Van being chased down, but the tag team is slowing down way too much, and he will be able to get away. So now they're going after Eris instead, but it looks like he's also going to be just fine. They'll both walk away with their lives intact, and Van, he was one auto attack away from dying, but he does get out.
Yeah, it's a good save for Puck. That will slow down the EXP gain. Of course, that's going to give some space towards Schem to just free farm, and they lose out on their bounties top. So overall, a pretty nice movement coming out from Neon. We've got Yapaj topped up again with his bottle, and he just goes back down mid.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just at that level, he's about to hit that level 6 mark as well. So play hard does rotate. They're going to try and go on to James, but they'll get through the flame guard first. Chain, lift, Yapaj will use the Sonic Wave and does get the kill. Will blink away as well, and well, Eris won't be able to secure that, and now they'll chase him down as well. Poor old Eris, wrong place at the wrong time, will be the secondary kill out, this time going to play hard.
Yeah, it's a good set of kills. Really good rotations coming out from Neon, understanding that the Quap 6 is a really strong timing for Yapaj. So they maximize that. They're making this mid lane hellish for Cignal to find that momentum. And we've seen it multiple times when that Ember gets a slow start. The rest of the team tends to suffer because their tempo setter is just not up and running. Has to be careful with how much ground Jamesy's bleeding. I think you should try to rectify that. It's really just down to getting your supports in the right spot. It's more down to Eris rather than Grims. There's only so much the Enchantress can do without creeps. If Grims does find a couple of good creeps for control, I guess you could really build off of that.
Yeah. Where is this Queen meter? Where is this Sonic Wave pain meter, by the way? Val? Is it just for the user of the Queen of Pain? Do we not get to see it?
I think you have to be selecting the Quap when she uses the spell.
What?
Kind of like Shaker. If you don't select Shaker, you don't see it when he casts. He has to be doing the damage. Like when you don't select Shaker, you see it?
Yeah, the thing that shows up at the top of the screen, right?
Yeah, but that only pops up when you have Shaker as the actively monitored hero. I mean, like the selected.
I swear I see it every time.
No, Oh, okay. I haven't. Like, I only see it when I click a shaker, so I know. I'm not completely sure, but as far as I know, that's how the shaker goes.
All right.
It should be the same with Quap. I think with shaker, it's easier to see because it counts like combos, so it's much more active. For Queen of Pain, if it's just the Sonic Wave, I guess you really just have to mouse over her, have her selected during that. And ping issues on Independence Day, not too unexpected. Celebrate.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, this is how you celebrate independence. Just live in your online competitive games. No other way to do it.
No, definitely not.
I heard you're actually switching internet companies as well.
Yeah, like we're gonna be going to a different one, which I can't vouch for. I can't comment, but my neighbors say they haven't had issues. We have a neighbor up the hill who has that line, and they're actually fiber end to end. Because right now we're not. We're still copper towards the substation, and the substation is fiber, so it's still pretty wonky. We'll see if that helps. I think it's going to be like a week to install, probably, so it's not going to be up just yet. But, you know, it's going to be a nice switch up, and I was trying to ask these fellas if they were using that company, and they use a different set of companies, one being the ubiquitous company in the Philippines, of course, and a standby. So I believe it was Neon with a standby, which is great. They can always switch to that if they've got issues, and we're good to go.
Excellent. Oh, it's a 3-6 so far. Neon Esports, they do take the lead, of course. The thing is, though, Abat is farming very, very nicely on that Naga Siren. Like, he's at 41-5 now, and Raging Potato can't do too much to slow him down. Of course, he is still maxing out those axes, but you are just very, very limited in what you can do to stop Abat.
Scam, first Chrono.
Yeah, Chrono being committed, Van will end up going down. And I like that from Scam. You get that level 6 Chrono, you just commit it. On the first series you see, there's none of this deciding who I'm going to Chrono and holding it for 30 minutes. Just commit it, get some free gold, and go back to farm.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the great things about fast Void players. We see a lot of Void players take their time, but it's really just about a free kill, because you're not going to get big team fights from that Void for a while, so you just get that done and go back to farming, as you mentioned. You look at that level deficit on Van. He's stuck at level 4, about to hit 5, but Scam's already at 7. So you can't quite pin down this Void as much as you could have earlier on.
Chance out on Scam, it's just going to lead to nothing. Eris. Ooh, Scatter Blast does miss as well from Januel, but Scam's just going to bash on command. Another bash, very, very nice. Bad, be careful, sir. Luck is not in your favor today. He will back up. Scam is actually keeping up very, very nicely in net worth with the Naga Siren. He's only about 50 gold behind. However, bot lane with Taj does secure a kill. Raging Potato will die. Now James is going to chase him down. Your Taj will just blink out there. They just can't really punish the Queen of Pain. She's blinks out freely.
Yeah, it's a great rotation coming out from Neon, slowing down that free farm. You mentioned a Naga, and this does really hurt Abat. He's still saving up for his first item, and this is something Neon's lineup does really well. They can play aggressive from the get-go. As the game goes on, you will be kind of constrained to the Void, but man, Scam just keeps getting batches onto Van.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what happens when you harass the opposing hero, John. I'm not sitting in the lane farming the whole time.
Top tower is under attack.
For any of you pop stars out there playing carry, please hit the opposing hero. Van has to be very careful now. Scam, if he does get another first hit bash, that could be Van dead.
Oh, pretty much.
Borderline will be, yeah, but Scam is having some ping issues. Wait that out.
This is standard stuff, as you would expect, right? Independence Day, and shout out to anyone in chat. Maligayang araw ng kalayaan sa atin lahat.
Oh, it's terrible.
Sana naman nag-enjoy kayo ng lunch. May lechon sana kayo lahat. and have a good time with family. And it's a good time to watch family. This is the one fun thing about the Philippines. So many people play Dota, so many people watch Dota. We might get to the point where, if you see a big Filipino team matchup and say in a major tournament, maybe it becomes an event like a Manny Pacquiao fight. I would love to see that, where there's just no crime because everyone's inside watching.
How is it your English pronunciation still better than your Filipino, John?
Look.
I'm not even Filipino. I don't speak the language, and I know you're not pronouncing it right. Because I've heard Filipinos out there. I know. I have Filipino friends here, John. Some of them are in Australia. I know you're not pronouncing the stuff correctly.
I really am not. I'm not. I admit it. I don't speak very good Filipino. It's a funny. It's a funny thing because my parents come from two very different parts of the Philippines. So my dad's family doesn't really speak Filipino. They speak like Spanish, or they speak like Chavacano. Yeah. And my mom's family speaks Filipino and English. So the only common language was English. So me and my sister my sister's better than me. She actually speaks even the local dialect, Bisaya, a lot better than I do.
Wow.
I just get laughs. Seriously, if I go out and I speak Filipino to people, it's either they ask me if I'm American, if I'm Filipino American, or they just reply to me in English. They don't even want me to try. They just speak English to me. It's like, yeah, I can't even speak Filipino here. It's fine. It's fine. I like it.
I want to take like a week or two off, go learn some Filipino phrases, and just master the pronunciation. So next time we come, I can talk to the viewers in Filipino, and you can just sit there and you can.
Oh, I'd love to see you try. I'd love to see you try, Mike. That would actually be great.
I'm pretty bilingual, John. I think I'd be okay.
Yeah, I'd love that. I'd love more people to learn how to interact and see pubs. Now you can trash talk too, Mike. Right. That'd be amazing.
I'll learn Filipino, you learn Arabic, and we'll get
all right. That sounds like a challenge. I don't know when I could possibly use that skill in our coverage, but hey.
What do you mean?
I can't just toss it out there. I speak Filipino under Filipino teams. I don't know when it would be appropriate for me to address people in that language with our coverage. I'm just not sure.
I was nice to you. I said Arabic. I didn't even say Armenian. If I said Armenian,
you would
literally never have a chance.
I would never have a chance. You know it. Oh, we did get a request from chat, Mike. You should showcase for you to co-op.
I did, but I will again.
Everyone loves it. I love it. It's the whip. For me, it's the whip.
It is the whip. The whip does it.
It's just outstanding.
I'm never usually a big fan of the tail thing, but it kind of fits. It's all the same length of the whip, so it kind of fits. It fits the whole persona, I guess.
Yeah.
What's her dagger doing though? It's kind of midair right now.
I think that's just it's the projectile. Yeah, because she's ranged, right? So she has.
If she's in close enough range, she'll whip instead of throwing the dagger.
Yeah, but the projectile still flies out. It's Dota 2 at Valve. It's the beta game, Mike. It's a work in progress. This is probably something they might have considered and possibly broken.
Poor Radiant Creep just trying to do its thing, and
it's gonna be dominated.
Very lucky Creep. This is the only time I'm allowed to be on BTS.
Oh no!
Give me a chance, John. Give me a chance. This is the only day I can do it.
Yeah, it's all day. By the way, this is going to be all day with how popular the co-op pick has been, and I think in respect, no one should ban it out today. It should just be open.
It should be. Harris, Grims. Nice bounty rune there with the trusty shovel. Always good to see that coming out for Grims.
Yeah, it's the most balanced tier 1 item, of course. Just a lot of value in it, and you see some teams kind of shelve that, but it's important to have it on hand. As the game does slow down a bit, Abab just goes back to the jungle, as you tend to see the Nagas go, is working towards the fast man first, so wants some wants a way to get out of sticky situations, which would be helpful. Neon is still building up a lead, though. 4-8, 2K advantage as we approach the 10-minute mark. Although roll.
Yeah, he wanted to go after that bounty route to get past, and I believe it was Grim got it. No, it was Jamesy, and now Ray is going to be a huge trouble. Scatterbox from Daniel. Now the Sonic Wave does come in.
He's under attack.
Oh, that is perfect. Raging Potato, he gets out with barely any life intact, and they find free for nothing.
It's an excellent trade for Neon. They drag all the heroes down, though. Like Skem comes in as well, but they hold on to the chrono. So Skem's going to have that tool for the next engagement. And they really severely hurt those tempo setting heroes. The Puck and the Ember Spirit just not having a great start here. And Cignal needs to rely on those two heroes to set up. You're not going to be seeing this Naga active for a while. You know, that's just the nature of things. A bot is just going to be farming up. You start to look at James, you start to look at Van to set up the plays, and when they die like this, it means they have to go back and farm up, find an easy way to get back in.
Cignal going to start forcing in that top T1 tower. Shouldn't be very hard to do. Play hard is going to be there to spam out paintball, but now the snare comes out from the back. They do purge him with that little creep as well, but he gets him just lift off. The bat's still trying to make a run for it. Purged off again and should be dead. And your Hunt also dies. Eris ends up getting killed in the mid lane. They do find the kill, they find the Ruby.
He's under attack.
Good sign there for Cignal. They'll also find that one tower top.
Yeah, they're starting to find a couple of big kills. I think Upaj has to be a bit careful with how far forward he is. You do have 6 up and running on Eris, so there's a lot more control and damage coming out from our Tusk. They did trade away a tier 1 bot, but overall, I'm sure Cignal's a lot happier with that trade. Cignal's still, Neon's still ahead though, so they've got a lot more tools to play with, but Upaj again, have to be a bit careful when Eris is around.
The thing is for Neon Esports, like, Abat is still freely farming up. This could be a real concern for him as time goes on. He's got the Archer up now, going after that Manta. Just needs to pick up the ultimate orb. Skem is still farming very well as well. He's trying to finish off that Maelstrom now on that boy. He's going to definitely need it up against the Naga Siren, as those images can be very, very annoying to deal with. But I wonder at what point Neon say they need to start trying to deal with this Naga Siren. Like, we've seen this over and over again where she just gets out of control in farm, and then you spend half the game just trying to find this Naga, but you just can't because she keeps sending illusions out to clear creep waves.
Yeah, it's a bit of a balancing act for Neon. They want to build up in Skem first, but you can't allow a bot that space as well. So look to them to try to find something. Roar onto Vando.
Van's gonna be in a bit of trouble. He drew it away. No, he won't be so lucky. Play hard does kill. No, find himself a creep now. Still has that purge creep, the Sati manager, but that will expire in just a second. One of the more undervalued creeps, people don't realize how slow that purge can make you. It's actually kind of broken. Now they do spot active with the orb. Great orb out from Playhard, right on point, but he can't hold down the Enchantress in time. So they have brought everyone down here, Neon. So it looks like they want to start trying to force down that bottom tier 2 tower a little bit and just control off this jungle. But no, they're going to lead back to that lane. It's back to farming.
Yeah, it's some...
Getting jumped on, play hard, couldn't get the lift off in time. In fact, he had it on cooldown anyway.
It's a bit tricky when you do leave that Kinesis at 1. Cooldown is fairly long now, still. I think Neon, if they want to go for these kills, they can play around the chrono with this. We haven't seen that combo to its full extent just yet. I think it's almost about time where you have to reveal it. Just commit it onto a bat, find yourself that easy Naga kill, and slow down the farm, because Abat is just about to pick the meta. And once that's up, it gets a bit trickier to pin the real Naga down.
Go, smoke up. not going to find that. That's the target they want, but the sun comes in, and he knows he's going to TP straight away. Januel, he could have tried to throw the hook in the sleeping Rubik, but I don't believe he would have been able to make it in range without the song connecting. I just couldn't really believe his eyes when he ran up that cliff above the staircase. He just thought, wait, that's not the Nugget siren, is it? It was just too late.
Yeah, it's a missed opportunity, but this does mean both sides go back to farming. It's time for Scam to try to build up. He's had the Maelstrom for a bit, and that does speed up farming, although...
Gets Aurora straight away. He is in the wrong section of the wrong time. There's going to be Chrono coming out with those kisses, and he will melt. Now they also go after Grims. He will try and run away, but he does also just start of your charge. I'm not sure what his frame of mind was there. He maybe just thought that was the free jungle, but that was not the case.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mistake. But he didn't have a song to push into that kind of high ground. Is an extreme risk, and None still got tools to play if you want to force a fight. Sonic Wave is still up, and the Orchid is still up on your pod.
Nice jaunt away. Now your pod jumping back in. He's going to go after that error's pass. He won't go all the way. Play but now does die on the Rubik connection. Get the green for it. Your Sonic Wave will come out once again. Back in trouble now. The cookie does land. Eris, he came back in to try and help, but he will die. And there's that pain meter. Jamesy will run away.
Puny Radiant hides behind their
now Silent's going to be out onto Grims. Axel's giving the vision. Touched pace for it. Doesn't scream off with the Shadow Strike. But Grims will just heal himself up and run away.
Instead of kill short on Neon's way once more, this allows them to transition into a push down mid. And with a master around, Tier 1s don't tend to stand for too long, so very important objective going Neon's way. This allows them to get a lot more control in that bot jungle, and that means a bot, if he wants to play safe, actually has to play up top, which he is already doing. But at some point, Neon's going to take a peek at that top jungle.
Of course you will. You know where that is. You just kind of looking for me for now. The man is up. He's going to go straight for a hard up next. So the he's going to skip the defusal blade. That may mean he lacks a bit of damage though. Like, he's trying to just tank up. I mean, you can split push waves very easily by going for that hard, but you just lack damage.
Dire's middle tower is not what it used to be.
And
that is for certain.
Couple score this round over the defusal. It usually tends to work better when your tempo setters are more farmed, but you look at games, only really has the Spirit Vessel, even Van doesn't have the blink, so options are limited, although play hard.
Is there your pass jumping again with the sound straight onto that end, and it looks like he's probably just doing it. Another kill for him, now Mortimer's kid stopping out, poor Grims, it's raining fire right now, so you've got to run. The pass is not going to let him go though. Blinks after him with the scream, and Grim's going to come for the TP play, but it will be no good. A double killer for your Page, and he's already 10-2 by the way on this quad.
Oh yeah.
There's something about playing the Arcanas that just makes you feel like a god on the
Yeah, it's the inspiration in Arcana can bring, I want to say. That's been a major factor as Neon had 8-18, 6k advantage. Cignal still has free farming. Naga, sure. All your cores are suffering. Jamesy has not progressed. That has not progressed and does not have a blink to the puck. Slippery, oh no.
Kind of bad. Doesn't commit the chrono. He's coming in though, and he does. Genial doesn't really have the scatter. He doesn't have the kisses, and now Chain's coming out as well. He doesn't really take down a bat, but now the rook comes out. Green coil is there, but they are in trouble on the Cignal Ultra. They'll lose it for his ball. Jamesy goes down. Now the puck. Van could not survive, and ultimately, I thought they weren't going to have enough, but they're going to look for more now. Play hard, just trying to find Eris or Grims. He doesn't really have a blink to close the gap, so let them go. But that's going to give a 9k net worth lead to Neon Esports.
That's just really good kills coming out. Surprised the bat actually went on to reveal himself up against Scam. This is not a point where Nog is that strong, and he gets punished for string that net out. You even saw the stolen Dream Quill from Playhard doing a lot of work, so you have to be careful with the spell usage. And those kills set back these tempo setters once more. You've got the duels up and running, Van, so he can maybe get the digital control now in the puck. It's still not amazing. And James, he's still trying to save up for the BKB. So these heroes that need to buy your Naga space, they're not quite ready to do that, but they need to play a lot more aggressively as the game goes on, because a bot is starting to lose out on safe spaces to farm in.
It really is. Now, Van by Scam will jump away. Sonic Wave in the mid lane. They do end up taking Jamesy. Jamesy is not having a good game whatsoever on that Ember. Now they take some more.
Oh no, a bat.
He caught a bat, and now the kiss is flying in. They did Dream Coil. He has the song. That was the Dream Coil out from the Ruby, not the pass. They jump onto the snap bias. January will die. Now the chase will be on to try and get one of these supports if they can. Scam doesn't have Chrono, but he can always just chase her. Eventually he'll get there, and with the time dilation slow, it'll be enough. That'll be a very dead Eris.
Oh, it's getting really tricky for Cignal, right? You're always having to use that song to bail out a bot. He can't farm in his own jungle. He has to stick to that top lane, and again, that's where Neon will be able to isolate him. It's just there's no other spot to be in. So he has to take that risk to farm now. Cignal. It looks like there's just going to be waiting for the BKB on Jamesy, and it's getting really tricky for Cignal, right? You're always having to use that song to bail out a bot. He can't farm in his own jungle. He has to stick to that top lane, and again, that's where Neon will be able to isolate him. It's just there's no other. So he has to take that risk to farm down. Cignal. It looks like there's just going to be waiting for the BKB on Jamesy, and it's getting really tricky for Cignal, right? You're always having to use that song to bail out a bot. He can't farm in it.
You'll drawn away again with that orb. Playhard's on the chase. That should be okay.
Ooh, man. Playhard guaranteed those kills in Chrono. He jumped in right at the end of the Chrono with the waning rift for the Sun, so that just enabled Scam to find those kills. And again, Neon pulling ahead so much, 13k advantage, pinning down batters. It's really just starting to be all about a bat. He does switch out from the heart into the diffusal, so he's starting to understand that he has to step up, he has to do damage here, and that's going to help do damage. The question is whether or not it'll be enough is a different matter.
I don't know if it is now, John. Like, you're 13k net worth behind with the Naga on your team. It's like, okay, you've got the diffusal now, but you probably wanted that about 5 minutes ago. So, I just don't know if that's considered to be enough. Like, it will definitely amplify things a little bit here for a bat. It's going to run into your path, doesn't bother being snared. It looks like the side of Neon Esports might start considering Roshan. Yeah, they will. Double damage up on your Harsh now, and Roshan not going to survive too long like this. They will want to fight. They do have the song up on the target's farm. They need to get there now. A bat, they do scan out. The Roshan is falling low. Song not quite yet. He's waiting. Shaz will give vision. He knows he needs something right now. There's a song. Roshan's down by your Harsh. He BKB's up. He's got the 8. And now, oh no, play hard. He's got the song. The Dream Core comes out. They are going to try and kill off a bat. And they do it anyway. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many mistakes they make. It's going to try and TP away. He does go down. Oh my, that is going to be demoralizing for Cignal Ultra. It was a 6v4 situation, John. Play hard doing the reading for a second there. It still just didn't work out.
Not quite the way Cignal would have wanted that, and it's really just down to your Push preemptively BKBing. That enabled him to get that chip, and Jamesy has to be a bit careful. Does have a haste to bail out, so doesn't get caught. But still, Neon, 16k, 10 to 30, Aegis is running.
Middle tower is
All the tools available to just for the high ground push. No song from Cignal means they have no safety net. So all the objectives slowly cleared out. I believe Neon will aim for that top tier 1, maybe tier 2's first. We're really committing to high ground siege. Scam has Chrono.
tower is under attack.
That's bad news. He
Oh,
won't
no.
come in at a bat. He does get caught out here. He is fairly tanky. It's not going to be that easy. He doesn't have songs. So they will just chase him down and scare him actually so often. He needs one more, and the Mioli does it. Eris rolled it from Mioli. That is not good. Now, Eris going to get caught as well. He will die. Raw is going to be there just to the south. They caught up. Skipage jumps in, takes the kill for himself. And with that, onto the tier 1 top tower.
Observes carnage underway at Radiant's top tower.
It's gonna be a slow chipping away here for Neon. They're gonna be able to find that tier 1 force and just straight into the tier 2 is no threat. As long as song is
Eris? Not Eris, sorry. Ember, Kate going down. Ouch. Yeah, GG. But
yeah.
too far behind. Like, look at this game. He's going to
Is under attack.
Yeah, really hard to play up against Cignal. They went for a slower draft. They went for a bit of flexibility with a pocket Ember, but neither one really kicked off. And without either one setting the tempo, you couldn't buy enough space for a bot. So Neon come out faster, a lot more aggressive, and do take game 1 very cleanly.
with that.
5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban.
Here for our second game of this Best of Two series between Neon and Cignal. And of course, the lovely John expired. John, welcome. Game one was a very dominant victory from the side of Neon Esports. We can't deny that. Game number two, where do you think Cignal Ultra need to change things up?
I think they've got to be careful when they draft two playmaking heroes that really depend on early snowball. They were constrained to that Puck and Ember for their early timings, and both ones kind of fell apart. Van did not have a good time up against Skem, and James, he just did not have a good time playing against that mid Queen of Pain. So maybe removing those kinds of factors for themselves, just going with standardized tempo, would help them out instead of two heroes that really depended on snowball and a safe lane core that needed a lot of farm to be online. A bot just kept getting picked out on that Naga Siren, and I get the mindset behind drafting it into Void. The song theoretically was a good pick, but it just didn't do enough. Still, we do see Cignal pick up the Queen of Pain themselves, and now the question is, they have the Arcana.
Better. There's no teams today that will be first picking co-op unless they... That's a rule now. I didn't mention that. BTS actually instated that today. No Queen of Pain unless you have the Arcana. And if you don't, it's very simple, John. You go, get your wallet, take out the credit card, and just sort it out. Fix the problem. You've got plenty of time.
Oh man, yeah, it's going to be very important for Cignal to have that Arcana. We've seen the effect it has in teams. Great morale booster. Dreamos has proven it, and Paj has proven it. So that's 2 out of 2. We've seen that in play. I think it's important to have the Battle Pass Arcanas. It's a legitimate strat. Maybe they pick up the Raid King as well for Cignal. Just really start to line it up, right?
Don't get me the king and the queen in the one game. Wow.
Oh yeah, that'd be sick.
Wow. With Neon Esports, they're going to take a long... I mean, they obviously wanted the co-op. They're taking a long time to think about this. And it's like, well, what do we do now, guys? We wanted that co-op to be picked up. They take the Phoenix instead. Fair enough. Just a very standard POS 5 to have. Can be run as a POS 4 as well. We've seen it be switched up multiple times, but most of the time it's just a POS 5. A very effective one at that. I generally don't like Phoenix into the Queen of Pain because the egg is not that hard to burst down because you can blink in and close that gap very, very early onto that egg if you need to. But then again, at the same time, if you're forcing the blink into the team fight, then it may work against the QoP anyway. It can work either way, but generally speaking, the Phoenix should be quite careful about how it positions that egg up against any with blink.
It should be
for the second pick, John, but they are going to go into the Void Spirit.
Yeah, that's a hero we've seen kind of get less priority nowadays. I do think it's still pretty potent. Gives you a really play aggressive. You don't need too much farm. You just need EXP. So you hit that level 7 mark, you can start going around the map. It's decent control against the pop if you can land a remnant. That's going to be important because the Phoenix doesn't give you that control, as you mentioned. It's very vulnerable to the pop. So Neon should look to try to find something down the line, though, that gives him a bit more AoE control. We see a few combinations with the Phoenix. This might signal that perhaps they're considering another Sam Void game. Just have the Phoenix Egg Chronosphere in play if they wanted to. That's another combination that works out well. They have left the Snapfire in the pool, though, and we've seen that response to the Phoenix just to burst down the egg in the early levels. So Cignal could just take that now as their support, and it can be really effective for that use case.
Right. Oh, Ultra, they will get into the Venomancer now. Seen a bit of Venomancer being brought out over this over the 6-7 days of casting now, and it's been with mixed results. Sometimes it dominates, sometimes it doesn't. I personally don't really see a reason for the Venom quite yet. I guess the Sunray is some pretty nice heals, so you can reduce the regen that you do get from Sunray. But that's really all you've got right now, this Venomancer.
Yeah, pretty much. I think maybe adding on damage on top of what the Queen of Pain brings you is something to consider as well. There's some value in that. This does make it trickier to pick up something like, say, Morphling. You've seen the Venom as sort of a counter to Morph. So that option's taken away from Neon. More than likely, it's still not a pick that either of us feel confident in. And it's really down to the timing. There's just such a tight tempo for Venomancer to be dominant. I mean, we're talking about maybe 20, 25 minutes past that point. You start to see BKBs, you start to see pipes, and the impact of the Venom starts to taper off from then.
See what Cignal should do with it. They really did need to switch things up after that game 1. Just such a dominant victory from Neon. I think they're just going to go completely opposite of what they'll do. They'll ban out the Weaver now. Fair enough. Neon Esports yet to make their ban now, but we get to see some more picks coming up. We'll have a think about it. You think they're going to run that Void Spirit mid up against the Queen of Pain, though? Like, it's not very preferable for the Void Spirit. You just can't really farm.
Yeah, it's not the best laning matchup if they do expect the Quap mid. I think both sides do have that flexibility, though, to run Mighty Hero in multiple roles. The offlane Void is not too strange. The pause 4 Void Spirit, it's a bit less common, but it has happened before. Likewise for the Quap. Offlane Quap is something we've seen very often, and the pause 4 Quap comes out as well. So you aren't quite locked into the Void Spirit versus Quap lane, but if it does end that way, Cignal should have a better time. In that case, JMC should most definitely dominate. So I don't think that's what Neon wants to look for. And again, it's kind of hard to read because the draft is open, not flexible picks all around. So there's a lot to consider going into these bans. They do take the shaker out. Again, an option we've seen kind of ignored in a few set of series, but it is taken out of the pool. You don't want to deal with that control. And that also kind of makes it harder to find that strong initiation and team fight potential for Cignal. Like right now, they don't really have the best control, so they're not going to have that option on hand.
Right. On Esports now, they're looking to make their 3rd pick. Won't waste too much time. They do go back into the Rubik. We saw some great plays being made there from Play Hard. There was one pretty bad play being made as well with the song still, but overall the song still was pretty nice. Just used the wrong time, I guess. Cignal Ultra now going to go ahead and make their 3rd pick. But I do like the Rubik pick here because there is a lot of value. The Sonic Wave, the Poison Nova, even just the Gale alone is pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's like all these spells are strong. A lot of value. Even the wards, I think, are going to be annoying to deal with for the Veno. Just, it's such an annoying spell. Annoying here to deal with. So having the option to take some aspects of that for yourself is great. One thing with Neon is control. It's not the best. Cignal does pick up the Bane, so they've got better control. Here we've seen the Bane really start to pop in. I think it's fantastic for Cignal to have that great single target control, and it's very hard to that Bane. So Neon has to watch out with how far they push their supports in that trading lane. The Bane tends to come out on top because of his burst healing available on hand.
Very, very hard to deal with this Bane in the laning phase, and I think it can be even harder, in all honesty. Like, you might want to put the Phoenix there instead of the Rubik for that pos 4 position, because at least with the Fire Spirits, you can win the trades, because he can't really auto-attack properly, but with the Rubik, you still do have the Fade Bolt. Like, yeah, you can lower his damage, it's still quite nice, but it's just the brains that makes it impossible. And now Neon Esports, they're going to go into a very, I say early Pugna pick, because there's nothing really here to counter with that Pugna. In fact, if anything, you're kind of, I guess, the Netherworld though, right?
Yeah, it's really strong. Like Queen of Pain, her Sonic Wave costs a lot of mana. It's going to be hard for her to just stand there on low HP and try to make a turnaround. Even the Venomancer likes to spam up wards, for example, so pushing out now as the Venom is a bit harder. I think there's value there. You're not seeing anything like the Troll to counteract or the Necrophos to counteract or any right click here really for the disarm, but I think just having this Pugna in this lineup is pretty strong. It gives them push, which Neon's staff doesn't really have as well. So it's an all-around balance pick. There are ways to handle it. Like you mentioned, it's a very squishy. One Sonic Wave will tear it apart, and Cignal going all in on that, pick the aim as well. So they've got a great way to jump into the back, deal with the egg, deal with the Pugna, and it should be pretty good. Lots of value in that AM pick here. Not much control from Neon to pin that down. That's going to be a worry because they've only got one pick left.
It's going to be interesting here to try and deal with this AM. They do ban out the LC. Surprisingly enough, on Neon Esports' side, like that LC would have kind of matched what they were trying to go for, but I suppose you don't really have space left in the off lane with his Void Spirit Pugna. Perhaps one of those is taking that position. Cignal Ultra, their final pickup or final ban out now. They do get rid of the PB. Now Ultra, they go into the Centaur pickup. Fair enough. I like how they've rounded this out.
Yeah, it's really strong. They've got great team fight. They've got great initiation, great retreat potential. Venomancer and Centaur is actually really scary because Veno can start gap closing very fast. Get right dead center to get the poison move off, land the gales easier. There's really good timings coming out from Cignal. You do still have a farm heavy hero here for Abat, so he's going to have to farm like crazy in the AM. But again, there's more targets for him to go for. Neon does close out with the PL. So it's a bit back and forth there. I think we've seen the PL versus AM a couple of times. And again, a lot of people think that the Battle Fury is more than enough. I'd argue no. I think a PL with a Diffusal can just drain an AM out. If you let it go too long and the PL gets really big, that burn from the Diffusal just ensures that the AM won't blink. So it's a weird issue of timing. I'd say Cignal has to play faster. They need to try to split push hard with the AM, split the focus of Neon, and deny farm from the PL. And that is something their lineup can do. Right. For the side of Neon, they need to give Scam that space and try to fight this 4. Not the best because their setup is not great, but they need to just give that PL space to cook up.
Okay. It's going to be a very, very interesting matchup. I'm going to say, I don't believe we've seen the very much successful kind of PLs in the previous games we've seen. It's been very kind of back and forth with these PLs, but overall they kind of just seem lackluster during that late game stage. Even though that's when they're meant to be strongest, they just haven't felt amazing. But against the anti-mage, I can see why you'd go down the route of the Phantom Lancer. That's fair enough. See how it all pans out for Neon, because they'd love to get a victory. And oh no, Jamesy!
Oh, that's a reporter.
No!
Yeah, that's not
Why
it.
did you first pick it?
That's not it.
Against the Bulls.
That's not it. Oh man, I think we all know how this will end up now. So, this is a bad start already for Cignal Ultra.
So disappointing. What? Battle Pass level 248.
Not enough.
Amateur mistake. Amateur.
You're the one to talk though, Mike.
What? What is it, John?
Do you have the Arcana too?
Do I have the Arcana? No, not yet. I logged onto the game, right?
Yeah.
Literally, as I was logging in, it said log back out as an update. I went, all right, fine, I'll log back out and update for the 2000th time this week. And I got the Queen of Pain update came along, but John, I didn't have time. I didn't have the time to go to the car, get my wallet, come back. Update my wife's home as well, John. She doesn't need the Queen of Pain arcade came out. It's gonna be like, what did you spend $300 on my like nothing, my lovely wife. Just some cosmetics in the game.
Just some cosmetics. Definitely not simping there, but it's perfectly fine.
Here.
But Jamesy, man, this is gonna hurt Cignal. I think you lose that mental game factor here, and Neon, they must be glad that Cignal picked it up. They're like, oh, they don't have it. We have nothing to fear. They possibly beat us now.
No, they can't. It's true, John. This is Jamesy, how dare you talk? You just stay quiet, sir. You have no right. You've broken the rules. We'll have a chat with you about that later, sir. Cignal. See how they make this work. It's going to be a lot resting on his shoulders, but with this PL performance, we haven't really seen any good PLs. Not that we haven't seen good players playing PL, but PL itself just hasn't felt great as of recently. And,
You know what's cooking? Boom!
well, I don't really know how to feel about the AMI though. It's that's the pick. So
Yeah, I mean that one's most definitely a lot rarer. I think it's going to be less rare when the Arcana comes out, the Persona comes out. But for now, it's not a very popular pick. And again, it's an issue of timing for Bit Heroes. Abot's Battle Fury, super important. Skem's Diffusal, just as important. So it's really just down to that.
Say they're going to push out a lot of harassment about. He will be going to the Blink level 1. Really wanted to go after that battery tonight, but doesn't get it anyway. And it's not a real objective to go for that level 1 blink timing, I guess, for a bat, right? Like, generally speaking, you want the mana void. Not the mana void, but the first ability, the mana break. Still does go for the blink instead. I guess it's not too big of a deal. Get level 2, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think this is just to preemptively prevent any sort of heavy harassment you can see from this lane. It's a dual range lane. You've got a lot of damage early on from raging and from play hard, so just kind of play it safe. Soak EXP first. This does mean you're not trading though. So there's no way a bot can find an opportunity to drain out these heroes. And it's really down to Grims to try to just close the gap and get some right clicks off.
They actually did end up bringing Bayhard up to that top lane as well on that Ruby. Kind of just how he shouldn't really be able to win out this trade war with Griffith, but you can't do so with the trade bot. It's just not quite that easy. Mid lane, of course, Jamesy up against your Page. Your Page currently dominating this lane. Jamesy just kind of unable to deal with your Page thus far, it seems. Get a bit of harassment out, but you'd kind of make the argument he should have a lot more damage going out in the Page right now.
Yeah, he definitely should. Like, the Resonant Pulse is annoying. It doesn't mean you're not trading right clicks, but as long as you're consistent with the Shadow Strikes, your Page isn't going to be blocking any of that damage. There's a little more potential there.
He's been quite conservative with the Shadow Strike, though, I've got to say. He's very conservative with the usage of that. Bot lane is going quite well for Cignal, though. Skem, well, he's going to stop up against the Veno and Centaur lane. Really not much you can do here for PL. all they really can do is Genuine keep buying regen for scam, but that's it. Even Genuine can't do much here on the Phoenix.
Yeah,
Cignal Ultra should really just dominate this lane.
it should. Really early timer on that Venomancer up against Scam. You have to remember that every single spell of Eris, except for Nova, is dispellable by Scam. So if Scam just has the mana and you commit too hard, he just doppels out. Have to be very conservative with that Gale usage.
Bat doing pretty well in the AM thus far. Raging Potato doesn't have the Crepify yet, so you can't really grief him with those CS attempts. He'd go for that build we've been seeing over the past few days, that Nether Ward and Nether Blast build, but he does decide to max out Nether Blast rather than going for the max Nether Ward, which is fair enough because you're not really going to get that much usage out of the Nether Ward with an AM lane. Basically, he just blinks after all. He's not really going to be doing too much spending of the mana.
It does mean, again, as you mentioned, a bot's going to be free farming. I think the one thing you really just want is to get early farm on your Pugna as well. Because AM, I mean, he gets that early laning farm, but that's still into a battle period.
Finds the first blood there on the Void Spirit. Will deny himself off to that tier 1 tower. It's a real great chase out from your Page. And John, I gotta say, this should not be happening in the mid lane. This should be a real easy lane for this Queen of Pain. James is just not... I don't think he's applying enough aggression.
He really isn't. Like, you mentioned the Shadow Strike and how conservative James he's been. He's been a bit too... Yeah, he's definitely just been way too conservative with his spell use. He needs to apply that harassment on your Page. It's just constantly on him.
Just look at that. Your Page just goes in. James doesn't have Blink yet for some reason. And James is going to die. Rotations are coming in here from Eris and, of course, the Bane. They're going to get played hard. I didn't even realize he doesn't have Blink.
Normally.
Yeah.
That's a greedy way to play the quad.
It's really greedy. And this is considering that it is that Void Spirit matchup. Just having 1-1-2 in this case is pretty all right, or even 2-1-1, I think, just for the harassment. And, well, that execution is going to hurt Cignal. You're depending on the Quap to buy your team space. You can't depend on a bot on joining these fights. He can't. He's an AM. He could have done so on the Naga earlier in the last game, but you have to get that good start in the Quap, or else the tempo is just really going to be thrown off.
Going to run his way back into the lane. He actually had to pop a smoke for that. So James, because he did TP earlier and die straight away, he pops a smoke to get back into that mid lane. It's going to be another resource being used up. That's a smoke you're not getting back for 10 minutes. He's trying to catch up now as he is being out-leveled by your Page. Your Page is going to hit that level 6 mark, and yeah, James, he will go for the level 5 blink. He kind of needs to. That's the thing. You don't really have a choice in the matter. Now your Page is 6, and you can see he will just dominate this lane. Real shame there for Cignal Ultra. Just this Void Spirit is just going to be online now, and it really shouldn't have.
Yeah,
it's not latch, otherwise Jamesy would have been dead there. One of the creeps take it for her.
It's
the bright side of Bat's still farming, right?
Yeah, the AM's farming pretty darn well. Not as far ahead as you'd expect. Like, you see, Scam is not too far off. Does have 28 under their belt, and they're still chasing Jamesy down.
Yeah, he's dead. Simulate will not connect. No 8th or Astral Steps left. Jamesy needs the blink of 1, but no. Your Page, he has the Resonant Pulse, and it'll be a very... Uh-oh, he bought back. That's a rage. Yeah, he's tilted. They tipped him as well, just to really add on to it.
I mean, I get why he wanted a range creep. He just wants to hit 6. If he missed out...
Don't buy back like that,
yeah, I can try to justify it.
You can't.
I can
right?
try.
Like, we don't need...
No.
It's not our job to justify bad decisions like that. That was not a good decision.
Yeah, it's a tilt. It's a bit of a tilt, but Cignal's off on the wrong foot already, and I mean they're keeping Raging Potato pinned down, at least up top.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's just a partner, bro.
Oh no.
That's going to get caught out. Yeah, your partner, he's just so far ahead now. He can just do this. Bat, he's going to die.
Normally.
And this is just the domino effect, right? Like, you've given the Void Spirit a free lane. He's level 6. He doesn't wait for that level 7 or 8 timing. He just starts going down. Grims has nowhere to go. He's going to die as well.
Yeah, and this is going to open up the map real quick for Neon. With Raging Potato, they can just melt these towers out with the Nether Blast spam. And once you take that tier 1 top, you're going to have a lot better time because the AM's not quite ready to jungle. Yeah, he's still saving up for boots and oof, not enough on the Void.
Void committed. Oh, your Page is back in. Bat, he used the blink for that. He'll try to go after Potato, but he's being life drained up. He'll blink away again. Your Page doesn't have Astral Step for another 10 seconds, but a Bat has no TP. Play hard. Does now find him, lifts him up, he'll blink away again. Raging wants to chase this though. A Bat does not connect. He's just going to hide in the tree line. Raging's still trying to have a look. He will find him. No, blink away. But they saw the blink happen. So Raging's going to run straight to him, and now he is going to die. He'd used the TP as well, so he's running back to the lane, and now bot lane, Van's going to be chased down. He does put the Hood of Defiance, but it may not matter. The Icarus side, chasing him down now with Play Hard on your Page. No Astral Steps and hardly in a minute left. It should be a kill onto Van as they really don't have the spells on Neon Esports. And Jamesy has rotated down with the Queen of Pain now. Sonic Wave will secure the kill on Skim. The Neon Esports, they get a bit too excited, John. Just all coming down with hardly any mana and no spells off cooldown. They just couldn't do anything.
Yeah, this is wasting time from Neon. That's a great pickoff for Cignal. You look up top, though. Raging should just be able to secure that top tier 1. So they're clearing out the map. Still, this limits. Oh, okay, I'll bot. He gets it this time.
Nice Mana Void from a Bat. I mean, that's the thing with Mana Void, right? If you can just get a kill, you just use it. It's quite a useless ability on the anti-mage until that, you find someone like Raging Potato who has no mana left. It's a nice little pick off for him.
Yeah, gives a bit of an injection towards your AM and Cignal. They're not too far behind. It's just a 1k advantage for Neon. They do have a lot of farm on Van early on. He is top of net worth. So if you see him with a fast pipe or maybe even a fast blink, he can start to give some space back towards Cignal. Can start these fights for them, but there's still a lot more to be saved up. Your AM's farm has taken a lot of an early hit, and you still have to play recovery on Jamesy, who's actually rushing a BKB in Queen of Pain.
Wow. Okay. That's something we haven't seen in I don't even know how long now. Scam and a Bat going to have a fight up at the top lane together. Scam is trying to juke out a Bat a little bit. Stampede going to be there. A Bat, yeah, blink up. He's waiting for rotations. He does eventually get one in the form of Jamesy. Jamesy will jump in. Skem now waiting for his doppel to be back up. Meanwhile, Van does go down to the center, and Skem is still just trying to run. He'll doppel back onto Jamesy now. We'll turn around for the courier. Won't quite get it, however. And still is going up against the Bat.
Oh,
Van
no.
is on an illusion.
Oh, no.
Bat now is going to be in trouble. Skem's trying to chase him down, and he does get the kill. Jamesy should be able to get the trade, and does. But that's your AM going down. Skem does secure it, and now your card goes in after the quad. Still no blink available. Jamesy, he should be okay. In fact, he will blink into your card. Has Sonic Wave, does barely connect. Now the Bean Drip will come in from Grims. That will mean the kill. Meanwhile, bot lane, we do see Eris going down to the Venom, but Raging Potato will also die to the Centaur.
A lot of back and forth. Cignal, they're starting to find some punishment here. Neon, maybe dial it down a notch because you're starting to bleed some key kills away. The death on Scam does hurt, although him finding the AM first hurts Neon a lot more. And that is, I guess, in the end, all you really want. Just slow down the AM. But you do see Jamesy slowly building back up. He's starting to get the damage out. You've got the levels on the supports. So Grims has that grip up, and that is, again, superior control on Cignal's side compared to Neon. They don't quite have the same way of pinning these people down. And that's something Cignal can really exploit. You have to be a bit careful about that, Neon, when you go up against these heroes.
Mid lane. Paj. We're going to try and go on to Jamesy. James is in trouble. He blinked in for the moon again.
Normally.
You can't really blink like that into a power room when you see everyone mid.
Yeah, that's
You just can't.
no. It's really costing Cignal. Again, they find kills, but you die anyway. Counteracts the entire point of that. Now look at Raging. He has his Tranquils up. We've seen this so many games.
Yes.
You have the Tranquils, you can heal everyone up. That's it. Free top-ups.
I mean, most people go for the double tranquils as well. Like, you don't stack up the movement speed, but the regen stacks.
Oh, yeah.
So with 2 tranquils, you can get 28 regen per second. And then you can really just be a healing machine. But they only usually do that if it is the POS 5 or 4 partner, not really the core partner. But you can still do it if you really want. It's kind of ridiculous how much regen you get. That now being chased out of his jungle on that anti-mage. Have to run away. It's been a real struggle in terms of farm for Sage. He's only got the ring of gold. We're 13 minutes in. And most Battlefield returns we've seen over these 5-6 days have been around 15 to 16 minutes. But I can't imagine he gets that Battle Fury up in that time.
No. The map is shrinking a bit too small. Only too many camps for him to safely rotate into, and you have to consider the time period. In fact, Van.
Half the centaur, stampede away. He does turn around and actually gets on the roof, but Stem should be able to trade them. No, he'll find saving Van. The chase will continue though. Sonic Wave now. Skem is not giving up though. He wants the kill. Still the line protecting Van. He's blocking all the magic damage. Now trying to juke himself after this. Skem will turn around and fight back, but he will die. Now the poison over. Feeds around on the voice as well. They have nothing, or maybe they do. If the potato comes in, he gets the bat. They'll find another in the form of well, nobody yet. Grims is dying quite soon. Ainsley also falling low, Raging might just turn around. He was a life drain. Nether Blast life drain. Yes, the Queen Penny will die. Now Grims trying to run. Eris will come back with Grims to try and take down the Pugna, and they do. Grims will go back for the Phoenix. We do have a tip out from Skipper. Being the first one to run into 4 heroes, in fact 5 heroes like that, just chasing an AM kill. I'm surprised he still got the kill though. That's the thing. Like, he was surrounded.
Yeah, that's not quite the best trade still for Cignal. They've thrown their AM out to secure that, and Abat is still hurting despite those kills. So it's still better off for Neon. You are building up Van, and this is key. He has his blink, so they've been able to play a lot more aggressive with Van, with James, because they've got solid with initiate. They really need to start playing a lot more aggressive. They need to apply pressure on Neon, free up the map for Bot. Still 2 parts away from the bat, and even then, you're still waiting for more items on the top. On the other side, for Skem, once the defusals up, I think he really just kicks it into overdrive. He starts playing even more aggressive. He doesn't have the stats to be tanky, but he does have the damage to start melting through those tankier heroes.
Very dumb. Skem gonna put people out very, very soon. You're probably gonna have to vessel up soon on the Void Spirit. You're gonna need a vessel for the Centaur. He is just so tanky right now. That's the thing with Van, like, he's the one hero that has been farming well on Cignal Ultra, his top of the net worth book. Now the vessel is up. Van's going to work towards the fight. It's going to be super important up against the partner and the Phoenix, of course. In late, your Paj going to start scouting out for his side. Does get that, but gets a very, very hard time to try and take out. Leave him now. Instead, they may run into a path. Yeah, they will. They do scout him out. He does blink away in time, however. We'll just now blink out, the TP out, up to the top and keep on up. But Neon Esports, it seems as though they want to try and force this bot tier 1 tower.
Got the partner, slow C, very easy to get down here, and you have the defusal upon scam. He's actually going for the bit of defiance we've seen on much more aggressive PL players. It really just lands here. It blocks the quap damage, it blocks the Venom damage well for you. So you've got added durability for that Phantom Lander, and you just really want to fight early while the game is not up and running. Play around with the fact that you're more than likely going to burn his mana true first and push that advantage.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? Like, the Hood of Defiance is quite nice. A lot of people don't like seeing the Hood of Defiance in the carry PL, but in certain games it does really just tank through so much magic damage. A nice value there to Scam. It's like Jamesy is still working towards that BKB. He's almost there.
Oh.
Mid lane, caught out. It is going to be Maj getting caught out with the Fiend's Grip. However, Januel, what's going to run there with the Sun Ray? He's going to try and back off now. Stampede does come out from Cignal, but Raging does use the Netherward on top of the high ground. They don't actually stop them though. They actually end up targeting that Netherward instead of going after the heroes. So Neon, they will lose that big Void Spirit, but that's going to be now. In all fairness, Yapaj has fallen behind net worth now. He's been chasing kills this whole game rather than securing farm.
Give them a try. You even
I heard a double edge.
I can't tell if that was on purpose. I don't think you tend to do that, but hey, it's a reset, although top.
And he dies again. I don't think you're meant to do that on purpose, John. No, not 18 and a half minutes.
No, definitely not. I mean, Cignal's still building up. He got the Battle Fury up and running on a bot, so he can escalate the farm. Neon, you have to be a bit worried about the space given the AM. Could start to look to punish that a bit more or clear up the map a lot more. Tier 2's up still means that Cignal has some control over the jungle and some safe space to farm in. You can't allow the AM to build up. You will blow up your people.
Actually, on mid lane, Aethernet will not latch on. However, bot lane, catch out Grims. So an easy pulse life pick off there. The thing is now, say, he's just quit pushing away. So you can't really try to go for those, that bottom tier 2 tower now, as you don't really have a creep-wave Morel. Because he does have the Battle Fury up, he can keep trying to do this, but looks like Scam wants to try and chase him down a little bit. We'll give up on it. Or Neon. Just gonna keep grouped up. You do have to find a way that he can to find a bat on the map though, because he's just going to keep just splitting the map up with this AM and it just becomes infuriating to play against. In fact, he's going to run straight into your path. This could be a dangerous position here for your path right now. He just takes down here and runs away. I thought they may have gone for a kill attempt there, but not quite.
No. Just gonna go for the safe objective plays, clear out some tier 1s to try to give themselves a little bit more map control and gold, and Cignal, it's gonna find that. Neon, they're not going in for the defense, they're still saving up, building up onto Scam. Looks like he's saving up for the Manta stall next, so just looking for that additional escape, although...
Yeah, great potatoes being put out, but Cignal also, they don't they stack off, and now Life Drain is there, Stampede out. They seem to be just putting all their trust in the AM. Like they're just waiting for a bat to get all the flop up because Cignal just refusing to play aggressively at all. It's just all defensive plays. Whether it works out for them or not is a different story. Like you look at Scam, he's still top of their worth board. He's gonna have that mantra up very, very soon. He even has the clumsy net just in case he does run into a bat. He can at least clumsy him up and drain his mana before he can flick away.
Yeah, and again, that's going to be key.
He's trying now. James, he should be able to pick and does. Are they going to chase? No. Scared to go back to the creep wave.
Yeah, I think Neon's just going to play moderately, although they catch people out.
Easy kill. That's the bounty being claimed. Van gonna show himself.
Van?
Did, but you just saw your Venom die, Van. Maybe he just feels that confident in his tankiness, and he will be in all fairness. He just TPs away. But now the bot wave is being pushed in his scam. He's gonna go after the tier 2 tower.
You do see a bot trying to get the game done up top. Looks like he wants to force into tier 2 as well. It's not going to be as fast. Neon does have Raging, who can really chip away at towers just a bit better. So you're going to find that first.
Yeah, that's just doing AM things anyway. He's just going to slowly try and take over the game himself. Your Paj is definitely trying to pick up a Death Slayer, which I do like, I've got to say. So you'd rather go for the right-click build over the magic build this time around, because you already see the pipe there from Van. No real point in trying to amplify that magic.
Nah. I think the biggest issue for Neon right now is their control. We mentioned it from draft, but once that lip is gone from play hard, people can just TP out. So maybe if they picked up an additional piece to break it up, maybe a Ults or even an Atos, I think Rage would like after the pipe. Just give yourselves a way to keep someone pinned down. It's starting to be a slight issue for Neon. You know, they are smoked up.
Tato, be a little bit careful. You'll be able to spot him. Might break the smoke of Crimson does, but they've got the Fiend Grip, of course. So we get caught out very easily and we'll die. Meanwhile, your Paj trying to find the bat needs to also Astral Step his way out of there. He's being chased down though. He has another one. Jamesy comes in. Astral Step there. Now the 8 from it as well. It was all a bit of a bait. Lifted on to Jamesy, but he will blink away. Now it's on the Van. Skems brings all the mana of his Centaur, and he is melting quite under that Sun Ray, and eventually will end up dying. They are still chasing the quad. Play hard. Does have a blink up from Jamesy. We can actually keep vision up here, and he jumps right on top of it. They know exactly where they are. Jamesy, Adrian, will land. Now still trying to blink away. Will be forced to BKB TP. Was that a 10-second charge? Yes, it was.
Yeah. It's not the best use case for Cignal, but they do manage to bail out minimum losses, so they're still going to be happy about that. They forced the buyback out from... So again, draining some resources from Neon, but I think, again, Neon got some control issues, although this does allow it to try to dip into the Roche pit.
That rush shot. It's going to be very quick, Roche shot to take. Out now the Cignal Ultra, they don't have time left though. Or do they? No. It's going to be the evolution coming in to try and scout out, but it's way too late.
Yeah, it's...
Now back to farming for that.
Free Roche, second life for Scam. You do start to worry a bit about Swarm. He has caught up. He's number 1 now. Has the Manta ult. Paj.
Trouble. Astral Step away though. Bat gonna keep chasing another Astral Step, but they'll know where he is. No mana void. Try and still go. Now the line frame there from Raging. They spot up the AM. Abram, one left on. Van will jump in for the back in, but your Paj is at Vanos. Not really taking much damage now. Play a bit, get the stop. You still have to blink there on the roof, so he can just keep going. Now back to Raging Potato. News.
Definitely isn't, and Cignal are still building up in a back, but you can't waste time like that. It has given enough time for Eris to get the eggs on the Venomancer, so you've got more damage coming out on that Nova and a bit of a lower cooldown, so you can play a bit faster. Issue is I guess the cooldown's really it. It just allows the Venom to join these fights a lot earlier. But Cignal, I think they just wait out a bit more. Abat is about to have a butterfly up and running on the AM, and that's really big power spike for him. You're not going to be seeing Scam rush the MKB. It looks like he wants the Abyssal first. Just wants to be able to get control for his team, which this line has been lacking, and really start to find the pickoffs for the team. So there's a transitory period here for Neon. Cignal just about to hit a major spike. And once that butterfly's up, Abat's just going to be a major issue for a while until you get that consistent damage on Scam.
Yeah, absolutely. We have the reconnection there on the Eris.
Are you even trying? Magic is an abomination.
James, he does also reconnect now. I do agree that Butterfly is going to be a big issue there once the bat does have it up. We already see Skim queuing up the MKB for it. The thing is, whether Bat's actually going to join the team fight or not is a different story entirely. So when you are behind as an AM, your job is really to just keep forcing them back by forcing in waves. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think one thing we haven't really seen from Neon as well are big fights centered around the eggs from John Yuel. Like, they haven't actually used it much, and you're going to need it for control in the bigger fights. It's just that the issue of spacing is there for John Yuel. You're always worried about the QoP and the AM just jumping in and ruining that, so it has led to more conservative fights from Neon. John Yuel hasn't died yet, so he's at least doing his job in that sense. You would still want to see Neon start to take advantage of that egg. It is pretty darn good AoE and pretty darn good control if you force them to kind of just fight under it. So it's something Neon has to start maximizing soon.
Still do have another pause. Scam's having a few issues here. That is still not at the place you want to be for this age.
Yeah, not quite yet.
Like, it's just not a good feeling to see the AM, who should be the fastest farmer in the game right now, behind Scam on the PL.
Yeah, not the best timings. There is a smoke from the end that was under a ward. That was fucked out.
We're going to have baked potato up at that top lane to kind of defend and just make sure a bat can't take that tier 2 tower. Meanwhile, the rest of Neil will start forcing the fight into the mid lane. Van losing all the mana already. Now, Sunmaker finds the charge being used, but they don't need it. Van blows up, and now Eris is going to be in huge trouble. Scam's still chasing him down, and he's just going underneath tier 4 towers. Kills him off. Now a bat will be next. He does mana void, but it's Aegis ripping it up. Doesn't have any mana left. He'll lose the Aegis. The bat is gonna die. And now the Beast Rip is nobody kill off this void spirit except the tier 4 spells. Little things to it. Scam kills him off as well. They'll buy back onto Grims. I don't think you're gonna have enough though. You don't have the buyback there onto the 8.
Oh, no.
The fuse will break down, he nightmares himself up. We'll go back in. Scam just doesn't care about the tier 4 town. Eventually he'll go back with the objectives. He must realize now, he doesn't have buyback. Well, let me take this spin right while I'm at it.
Yeah, it's really quick with an arcane as well.
Yeah, he just respawned. He just went and to go back in, but the spray is just burning him. He does get a knife there to help him out, but he's gonna die anyway. James, he's Sonic, he does connect anyone, but that's really it. Down bad, still being faced down. We do have Rubik's get him that Sonic to the top of playing hard. That big Rax is almost certainly just dead. That'll be it. Neon, they're gonna need set. He's all back off now. But just great plays out.
Yeah, again, it's that point where AM just can't quite fully handle a PL like initially, but after Scam just diving way deep. Once you're burned out, there's no escape. And Scam with the Basher is doing so much work. That added control all Neon really needed, and it's just one part away from the Abyssal. I don't think you all know that.
To go after his protocol. Now, will not be able to drain all the mana. Very, very close call. He does get the kill on the Rubik does go down.
Yeah, it's pretty lucky that happens first, and it does time for Cignal. Not big of a lead on Neon. 2K advantage, but the worry is, damn, you mentioned it, but AM, it's just a flash farmer. You want to have a net worth advantage, and you don't. A bot that's playing from behind really needs that butterfly up and running to maybe have more durability here, but not that durability can be enough. It's a different question. You've got the Abyssal on Schem, so he can really just start these fights on his own terms now.
Well, that he can, and I'm sure he will. I mean, he already has started the fights on his own terms. He just runs into the tier 4 towers. They'll smoke up. Onto the dire jungle it is. Luckily for Cignal Ultra, they are already backing off, but Neo Esports are. They're still trying to find a up and on for bad. Adrian is going to block him in. He doesn't want to die like this. Scam will just ignore him. He wants someone else. Now they'll go back. No, they don't need him. The bishop went up. He's dead. Boys, no committed. That's all he can do. And that's the force. Okay.
I love this. They know they can do this.
Bad, I think you have to go back, so he's trying to switch to the top lane right now. This is the time to make
no.
He's catching out the AM straight off the double back. Will man for it on. He's going to take a Sonic wave from James. He's trying to take down that air, but he's been controlled by him. Now the Sonic wave stolen as well from playing off. And they are wiping them out. That avoid will kill off playing off. The bats flying out. They won't matter. They're still back as well. This game is basically over. All you've got left is the quad and the air. They jump in, a bat, gonna try. James here, pass, but the Abyssal Blade comes out again. James goes up back, and now the AM being bashed up, almost out of mana, not quite there, but he's lifted by Playhard, who did buy back into the team fight, and we are actually gonna have a pause. I mean, it is Scam disconnecting in all fairness. I'm not sure if the pause is necessary at that point, John. There's only 1-0 left on Cignal, the Ancient is exposed. You could probably...
Nah,
yeah, there we go. Okay, they don't wait time. They're just like, all right.
God. Yeah, that's quite the ending for Neon. They play perfectly well. Scam just comes online. It's the AMPL situation. It's not the matchup you're looking for. Cignal, they couldn't get the space out. They couldn't build up. And Neon, they look pretty fantastic in both games. Do pick up a nice